Okay, so today we're going to be working on the Daily, which is a 2015 STI. This is the vehicle I commute in every single day. We bought an intake for it, a Cobb intake and a Cobb tuner. If you're just looking to see how to install an intake on a vehicle, this video will help. Also, I currently have the heat shield and the intake, and I'm going to show you how to install both of them. So yeah, we're going to install an intake. These are the tools you're going to need to install the intake on a 2015 STI. If you have a different vehicle or a different intake, it may be a different set of tools, but for this specific install, these are the tools you need. Wrench, 10mm, you're gonna need a ratchet, several extensions. Opted for a 1/4 inch 10mm socket. 3/8 drive does not fit around the tight area, so that's why I have both. The universal joint will make it a little bit easier along with the 1/4 inch extension, and then I have an adapter 3/8 to 1/4 inch. I also recommend a flashlight whenever you're doing any type of work. Make sure you have adequate light. Also a interior removal piece. Makes it a little bit easier to remove those plastic pieces without damaging them. You can use a screwdriver, but I do not recommend it. Also a flathead and a Phillips. The kit actually comes with 2 Allen wrenches that you need. So this is everything you're going to need. This is everything you're going to need for the install. First thing is going to be to remove this plastic piece right here. It has these 2 plastic clips. See them? 2 plastic clips. I recommend one of these guys, which is for removing interior pieces, just to make sure you don't break the clips, because you want to still use this part of the intake later on. Use this end piece like a screwdriver. And the screw comes right out. Secondary piece. Then you can remove the secondary piece. Turn it counterclockwise till it pops up a little bit. Use the plastic piece to continue popping it up. Once this piece is out, you can remove the secondary piece. So once you get those two clips out, you might need to pull it a little bit forward and then pop it right off. So you can set that aside. You're going to be using that later. The next thing we're going to do is remove the sensor. You're going to do it with a 2 small Phillips head. I recommend unplugging it, but if you don't want to break this cable, which is plastic, you can just remove these bolts and put it to the side, and then just make sure you're careful not to hit it later on. One and 2. You may have to wiggle it back and forth. If you haven't uninstalled the intake before, it might take a little bit more effort to get some of these pieces out. So as you can see right here, there is a bolt on the inside, but I've previously removed it when I took the intake out before. So what you can do is you're going to take your 10mm, remove this bolt right here. But as you can see, mine's a little bit easier to remove because I already did it. There's a 10mm bolt down there. So you're going to use your super long extensions. Okay, now once you get that bolt, take a screwdriver and we're going to loosen this hose clamp, and while you're at it, might as well loosen this one also, as well. And also a third one over here. So as you can see, there's a hose on a clamp right there. See that clamp right there? It's actually connected to the intake box, so you're going to push that hose out. So this piece isn't going to come off easy for you because there's a bolt on the other side that's actually inside the intake box. Forgot to put it back on. I wasn't going to take the whole thing apart, just to put that bolt back on. A little bit easier if you remove these 2 10mm bolts and take that bracket out. You're going to end up putting it back in to hold in the heat shield if you have it. If not, you're going to remove it and keep it out. You're just going to take that and put it to the side. So now that you have that piece off, you're going to want to pop open these 2 clips and open it up here. So if you're watching this video just to change the filter, this is where you can just remove the filter, put in your replacement filter, and then just do all the reverse steps. So this piece has a little reservoir below it, so it'd probably be easier to take the top piece out first. Underneath it has prongs that stick down. the hose piece and lift up on it. Once you do that, just remove it and set it to the side. Little prong pieces I was talking about. Okay, now this piece should be a little bit easier to get out. So next you're going to be removing this section of the piping all the way up to here. To remove this hose clamp right here that we did previously, you're just gonna pull on this. Okay, next you're gonna remove these two hose pieces from the clips. Previously loosened these hose clamps here, so you're gonna rock it back and forth. Just be careful because it is plastic. You still need this piece right here. It's an empty chamber, that's what it looks like. So once you get your heat shield ready, it comes with little road pieces that go around different areas of the heat shield. You can install this any way you want, but I personally put it anywhere that it was going to be making contact with metal. As you can see on my top, I put it around the corners just because it's going to be metal to metal and it'll make a little bit more noise. So I like to suppress that noise a little bit. So you can install it any way you want, but that's personally how I installed it. Okay, so you're going to take your flat piece, you're going to be kind of inserting it in. One piece we did forget is this little 10mm. The heat shield is actually going to bracket to it. It's connected to the power steering reservoir. Put the heat shield back in and get it threaded. So there's two things you can do right now. For the sensor wire, you can either have it wrap it underneath the intake, or if you look, there's a little spot you can kind of go through. There you go, you can see it actually go through the hole. So that's personally where I run it through. So this is the bracket that you're going to be installing. You're going to take this and slide it underneath. So once you have it underneath, you can line up the holes. I don't know if you can see that. But you're going to line up the holes and take the 10mm that you removed and place it down in there. So next thing is you're going to reinstall this bracket right here. And I might as well tighten this down while you're at it. Tighten down all the bolts, make sure the bracket's in there. The heat shield's in there nice and tight. Okay, so at this point you're going to take your air filter. You're going to place it down into the little void here because it'll actually make it easier to put everything together once we get it all on top. Next, you're going to take your rubber hose, place your hose clamp over it. Make sure you don't put too much pressure on the plastic hose. Next, you're going to line up your hose clamp so it's easily accessible, and you're going to tighten it down. So now that you have it snug, make sure you line it up, keep it an even distance away, and make sure you run your fingers along the bottom. I've seen a lot of times where people will tighten down the hose clamps and it won't be fully on the hose below it, so it'll cause vacuum leaks or it'll cause it to slip off. So just take the time to make sure you put it on correctly and then tighten it down all the way. Just snug enough because this is a plastic piece and it is kind of fragile. Next, you're going to take your sensor bracket and place your hose clamp over it and insert it into the hose. Right, get your hose clamp over the hose. You don't want to tighten it down yet because you want to make sure everything lines up at the bracket before you do that. Next thing you do, you want to take your bolt with the washer and a lock washer and you want to feed it through the bracket. So you get the two bolts threaded in and you're going to tighten them down. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a You're going to take a 10mm socket with a 1/4" drive, a universal joint, a small extension, and then either a 1/4" drive ratchet or an adapter for 3/8. And then once again, they are plastic, so make sure you're careful with it. Just get them nice and snug. Okay, now we can reach down and pull out our filter. Place it right over the sensor bracket and just tighten it down. See how easy it was to get in? Make sure it's not too tight, because once again, it's still plastic. And you can tighten this piece right here. Once again, make sure to check the bottom, make sure it's not overlapping. Overlapping just a little bit. Tight, but not too tight. Okay, once you have the intake all installed and ready to go, the next step is to install the sensor. Comes with 2 Allen bolts. Okay, once again, make sure nice and snug, but not too tight because you don't want to strip the plastic. So, next step is to install the cover. You always have to make sure when you're tightening down bolts, you make sure they all thread in before you tighten them all down. If you tighten one down and then you can't move the top piece, you're gonna have to untighten it anyway, so might as well just keep them all loose. And then once you get them all threaded, you can start tightening them down. Just give them a little bit of torque. Okay, and if you have the heat shield, you're going to be reinstalling this plastic piece. So this little plastic guy. And take the clips, push them in. Okay, the intake's in, everything's good to go. Definitely before you put the cover on, you want to check to make sure all your bolts are tightened down. Alright, so anytime installing any modifications to your vehicle, you're going to want to get a tune. Whether it's a hand tuner or a professional tune. I personally bought the Cobb tuner because everything was easily accessible. It was all in one package. It came with the intake and the hand tuner, so it was just convenient for me to purchase. I'm not saying that Cobb is the best, I'm just saying that it was pretty convenient to purchase. You're going to be plugging into your OBD2 like most tuners, and it's going to prompt you through a bunch of steps that you're going to have to do to flash your ECU. And then you're going to choose the Stage 1 Plus kit and 93 octane or whatever type of fuel you use. These vehicles are very finicky, so you're going to make sure at least you have a hand tuner, if not a professional tune, with these vehicles. So I'm not going to make a video about installing the hand tuner because it's pretty self-explanatory. So that's the intake on the 2015 STI daily. Thank you for watching the intake install. Next video is probably going to be the short throw shifter and shifter bushing install. So if there's anything you'd like to see, please let me know in the comments. Please subscribe and like if you like the content. There's going to be more videos like the Lexus. We're going to be ripping the engine out and doing that. I'm just waiting for my friend to get time to actually do a video. Also, I have my my other vehicle coming over from Japan, and the Mustang currently still for sale, so I'm probably not going to be doing anything with the Mustang. So, like I said, like and comment if you enjoyed it. Let me know what I could be doing differently to make these videos better. Subscribe if you like it. Give me a thumbs up if you like it, and I'll keep making more content. Thanks.